The internet allows us to communicate our favorite interests, hobbies, professions, and is what many have built our lives around. Above all else, the internet is and can be funny. If there is anything the internet is known for, it's memes. And memes have spread into, of course, tabletop role-playing games, which are being played more online than ever before. So, what if, in all of this irony and nonsense, there was a game that crystallized the brilliance of memes in the past 5 years? Well, if folks feel like having their big squishy meat in their noggin, take a break, then buckle up. In this video, we will be discussing the one-page Brainrot tabletop role-playing game, ERM What the Sigma. We will go over the game's mechanics and how those mechanics are an example of meme history, both in the past and present. So viewers, pack up your brains because we're taking a trip. No, it's not to the TikTok Riz party, rather it is all the way out in Ohio. The cover is a small amount of phantom text with a side of gyat as we hit the giddy. Anyway, I'm not gonna redo that. In this new video, we're talking about Brainrot, so start mewing and mugging because we are talking about the one-page RPG jam game, ERM What the Sigma. ERM What the Sigma is a one-page RPG made by Drama VT, made on July 23rd, 2024, and released to itch.io. It was made as part of a submission to the one-page RPG jam in 2024. I covered the game briefly in my RPG jam retrospective, but as some of you may know, I don't do full reviews / perspectives / analyses of each game unless I play it at least once. Ultimately, the game lingered in the back of my brain until I ran it this year. The game was also released on the Best of 2024 TTRPG Jam. This jam was hosted by Rainy Day Games to celebrate the awesome work of folks in the tabletop RPG community and was part of a game model benefiting the Trans Empowerment Project. Also, Rain and me have played games before and it's been a really good time, so check out their content over here. ERM What the Sigma, which we will just refer to as ERM, is focused on brain rot and modern day meme culture. The game is a comedy game that is meant to parody the super serious, typical adventure RPGs of our time, while being unironically about internet meme culture of 2020s. This is illustrated exquisitely in one paragraph on itch.io. Embark on quests as a Sigma, like rescuing the e-girl, stealing the NFT, or slaying the BBEG. All while navigating a series of unpredictable scenarios inspired by viral trends and memes. Unique character traits such as Riz, Looksmax, and Kyat, and help system based on cringe. Sigmas must use their wits and creativity to overcome challenges and avoid getting L-ratioed. As you can see, this game is not meant to be taken seriously at all. You're supposed to have your brain literally flushed down the toilet while running this damn RPG. I agree to all of that, and I think the game executes its slop perfectly in its resolution mechanics and character creation. In terms of materials, you will need D6 for players who are playing, a singular 1d12, a royal deck of playing cards. You want the royal suite removed and in a separate pile. Finally, some game safety tools of your own choosing. To begin playing, you will need to create a Sigma. A Sigma is the name of the character you create in this brain-rotten world. Character creation involves assigning a 3, 2, and 1 to 3 stats: Riz, Looksmax, and Gyat. Riz represents charisma, Looksmax represents your appearance, and Gyat represents your strength. Finally, your Sigma, hero of time, space, and memes, needs to assign themselves an ability. Those abilities being No Cap, Mewing, Twerk, Grindset, Sus, On God. Each of these abilities raises your stat +1. Finally are your hit points, which are called cringe, and you start with 10 of these. To put what we learned into practice, let's make a Sigma together very quickly. We will assign their Gyat stat to be a 3, their Riz to be a 1, and let's say their Looksmax is a 2. We will give them the ability Mewing because I want to build a Kikachat who's constantly ore farming. As for name, let's use this name Brainrot generator that I definitely can trust that won't give me a virus. And let's call him or her or them Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I like that name. The gameplay loop is that of any typical or traditional adventure style game. The facilitator will roll a 1d12 to determine the starting scenario. And when something is risky, players roll a d6 plus or minus their chosen traits modifier. The difficulty is determined by what is drawn from the player using a standard deck of cards. Players compare the roll to the suite, and that's the basic gameplay loop. We rinse and repeat. The facilitator draws using the Jack to King cards where a boss spawns. Each boss has unique moves that are based off the meme / internet cultural reference / influence, and serve as unique enemies that players are going to have to defeat with the power of friendship, cringe, and a lot of bullcrap. For example, Wizard of Oz must sneak past some chronically online dweebs. The facilitator draws from their standard deck of cards and gets a 5 of hearts. Wizard knows it will be a bit difficult to convince the dweebs with words, and they are not the sneakiest, so they will take the most forward approach. They're going to commit acts of horrendous violence in-game, obviously. The best stat would be Yacht, since they are super tough and have been in the hyperbolic time chamber mewing for, 69 years. We roll and Wizard gets a goddamn natural 5, and plus their yacht of 3 and 1 from mewing, they get a total of 9. Meaning we succeed and get a +1 to their next Riz roll. However, there are some difficulties with this game. The gameplay loop is simple, but it definitely needs some fleshing out. My biggest struggle was that it was not clear when you can use the Royal Suite to draw from bosses. I assume the facilitator can choose to have a boss at any point throughout the session or campaign, since there isn't any actual specification. But it isn't there. Also, it would help if there was more explanation on the abilities and the concept of the game and how they can be applied. Finally, there are a few spelling errors as of the latest version, as of March 19th, 2025. Despite all of that, I truly believe that these are the result of the game jam's time crunch and this, well, being a meme game. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. In fact, this game is brilliant despite that. It's brilliant in the Brainrot department. So much so that I decided to do a deep dive into what exactly is Brainrot and how ERM exemplifies the cringy beauty of memes in the 2020s. To start, let's define what is a meme. As shown in Britannica, a meme is a unit of cultural information spread by imitation. The term meme, from the Greek mememia, means imitated. This word was introduced in 1976 by British evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins in his work, The Selfish Gene. Ultimately, within a specific culture, memes can take a variety of forms, such as an idea, a skill, a behavior, a phrase, or a particular fashion. Merriam-Webster defines a meme in 2 different ways. 1. An amusing or interesting item, such as a captioned picture or video, or genre of items that is spread widely online, especially through social media. 2. An idea, behavior, style, or usage that spreads from person to person within a culture. A meme can come in many forms, but simply put, a meme can be an item, like a video, a picture, drawing, writing, or several genres of items that spread from person to person. It typically refers to items on the internet, but the term is steeped in and amongst academics within anthropology, sociology, and biology, especially when you get into memetics, which I'm not going to get into because my brain is already hurting enough in this video. The history of memes also gives us insight into how memes were not inherently a digital phenomena, as I implied a little bit earlier. Know Your Meme is one of the most early forms of meme repositories, starting out back in 2007 as a segment to a satire website known as Rocket Boom. Know Your Meme is a popular website with over 32,000 memes in its category as of March 2025. It also goes into a history of memes, which I'll be referencing as well. The earliest memes weren't internet cat pictures, but the graffiti doodle Kilroy was here. It was drawn in various locations by US soldiers during World War II. The same logic for the Frodo Lives graffiti in the 1960s, following the paperback release of The Lord of the Rings. These early examples show people passing on memes via art and drawing in relation to cultural, political, and economic events that were significant to them. The history of memes being influenced by the world holds true via the internet in the early 90s as well. The earliest examples of internet memes arguably are ASCII art and emoticons, or the dancing baby. I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at. Anyhow, these memes, as Hamilton states, set the stage for what comedy and communication look like on the internet today. It was a time of experimentation and learning, and many of the elements that made these memes prevalent online remain visible in today's most iconic formats. I think this is most visible in how emoticons and ASCII art are still used and are represented in how we communicate with emojis or in copy pastas, say looking at our copy pastas or the current day emojis that we use. Moving to the 2000s to 2009s, internet memes really came into what we commonly know as, well, internet memes. Celebrities, pop culture icons, and viral videos were starting to become the norm amongst memes. I very vaguely remember memes like Keyboard Cat and Rick Rolling coming into the zeitgeist, but not by much. In fact, I didn't really grow up with them. Meanwhile, other memes like Lost gain internet fame since they are still relevant and pull into new memes and abstractions. We also saw memes that would come from image boards like 4chan and 8chan, as well as Rage comics, which brought image macros to new popularity and would be the inspiration for the memes of the 2010s and 2020s. Near Meme emphasizes that memes thematically changed when they entered in 2010s, 2020s. They were no longer inherently perceived as silly macros. Instead, memes gained an edge of dank, ironic, and edgy turn. These memes came into turn with nonsensical imagery, especially from movies like Shrek and Bee Movie. Recall that the Bee Movie script, to this day, it was regarded more as a copy pasta and an ironic meme than as anything particularly groundbreaking, especially looking at the Rotten Tomato scores. Ultimately, memes are changing to be more ironic, dark, and edgy, and surreal, and likely came in turn with the changing political climate, with the rise of anti-social justice warriors, right-wing commentary, and Donald Trump's election between 2010s to the late 20s. This era of edginess and surrealism would transition to a post-ironic era that we are seeing. Rage comics left, and in their wake are Wojak memes, carried on that similar style, but with a more cynical, reflective, and depressive tone. For example, words like doomer were starting to be used more often in the late 2010s, and were commonplace on websites like Reddit or 4chan or wherever else you go on the internet. Words like doomer and, to an extent, doomer girl describe 20-year-old something individuals who were nihilistic and despairing about the world. Similarly, memes like Morbius, Among Us, Soprano, and Breaking Bad memes were largely absurd and ridiculous in sharp contrast to the fact that the world felt like everything was, and for many is, falling apart. In all this landscape of political nightmares and nihilism and absurdism, Brainrot was lurking behind it all, taking inspiration, ready to rot our brains with ease. I firmly believe that Brainrot emerged out of all of that, out of the cynicism, nihilism, and meme culture of the past. And ERM What the Sigma reflects not only the internet landscape, but how Brainrot came to be, as an idea, as a word, and as a concept. If you've been keeping up, Brainrot is the latest meme / word that has captured all of us in its beautiful wet grasp. Brainrot being content that refers to material of low or addictive quality, typically in online media, that preoccupies someone to the point it is said to affect mental functioning. Both the state of preoccupation and resulting mental degradation are known as brainrot. The word was even determined as the word of the year in 2024 since it was so popular and used so often. As stated, our experts noticed that brainrot gained new prominence this year as a term used to capture concerns of the impact of consuming excessive amounts of low-quality online content, especially on social media. The term increased in usage frequency by 230% between 2023 and 2024. Brainrot is used essentially when it feels like you're consuming low-effort content. For some, this could be the skippity toilet dance and song we hear on Instagram Reels or TikTok. It could be your favorite artist hyper-obsessing on their favorite movie or piece of media and talking about it endlessly using the most low-effort content known to mankind. It could be you scrolling endlessly through TikTok for hours on end as your personal hobby. Maybe it's you watching reactions as rage bait content endlessly on YouTube or say on your favorite social media platform. One could also say brainrot content is the endless slew of AI hot garbage across the internet. With this in mind, brainrot really just reflects the internet slop that we all deal with, or what people perceive as schlop. With that in mind, I think Brainrot also reflects how people are looking for escapism and something to do amongst all the scariness of the world. As we understand, 2010s was an era of cynicism and ideas that left a lasting impact on all of us. When you think of constant culture wars over in every fandom and just the wildness that was 2010s with the elections and other crises, it's not a surprise that brain rot or the concept of low effort content emerged with changing algorithms and, well, life getting sad post COVID or even during COVID. Brain rot, in a sad way, I think, is how Generation Z and Gen Alphas, amongst other generations, are using this newer, faster paced content and algorithms to both express themselves, escape from reality, and maybe organize themselves as well. Brain rot is then perceived as lowbrow content with no value. However, I think there is genuine value in brain rot as a cultural phenomenon. I know, I'm saying that, quote me on that. On face value, it is people endlessly scrolling through Instagram Reel or YouTube Shorts. The important part is what's surrounding the scrolling and the brain rot. It could be people doom scrolling through Instagram Reels as Reels show funny dances in another climate crisis happening in a state over. It could be seeing massive police violence against students sandwiched between your Reels and your favorite cosmetic, and sandwiched between adverts on the next best restaurant in your city. It could be you going to YouTube looking for something fun to watch, but your fit AI garbage, react content from grifters who have little value to add, and videos on your next vacation spot. It is for some seeing low effort AI D&D slop or AI created TTRPG content amongst, say, your favorite tabletop role-playing game. This contrast is overwhelming because we are exposed to horrors and manufactured joys in tandem due to financial incentives social media companies have. This is the result of social media algorithms wanting to keep you on their platforms so that their respective companies can rack in as much money for business purposes. So, interlaced between a lot of seemingly low value content, quote unquote, or rage bait or horror content, or are ads, sponsors, and everything vying for your attention. I'm constantly asking myself, should I care about this or not? What should I focus on? What should I do with my time? And unfortunately, I even ask myself often, how will others perceive me for what I watch and how I act? I grimace, winch, and flinch sometimes at how I'm perceived. I realize whether it's doom scrolling on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, or caring about something passionately, it's cringe. It's brain rot. Despite that contrast, ERM What the Sigma reminds us that memes, despite how cringy, abstract, or old they become, have meaning. They have meaning because people find meaning in them and just create something fun, embarrassing, thoughtful, or political to share with others. ERM is a clear example of all of that, consolidated into a tabletop role-playing game. It is fun because it ironically uses aged memes as their driving mechanic and in the gameplay loop. A meme's lifespan typically is short and characterized as gaining popularity and falling out of popularity due to ever-changing trends, new media, and new fads. In ERM, it pulls from memes like Area 51 or the Grimace Shake, memes that have left the internet years ago. Its intention isn't to be funny in its wit or its writing or its design inherently. It's intending to give you something funny because of how ironically stupid it is, but in a good way. It isn't intending to give you some thought-provoking narrative when a whole scenario is literally a whole ass 5 Nights at Freddy reference and one about e-girls. It is intentionally embarrassing, intentionally unkempt, ridiculous, and cringe. And as I played it with one other player on a evening night after work/school, this game that one would pass by for having no value on itch.io gained value because of how much fun this ridiculousness was. Its value did not need to be monetary or power or political or educational inherently to bring me joy in a world that seems so scary. To most, ERM is nothing more than a silly meme tabletop role-playing game that was made for a game jam. This aged memes, simple design, and spelling errors. Not exactly the coolest game nor what people are typically playing at a convention. And honestly, it isn't cool. But just because it isn't cool doesn't mean it's not fun or has zero value. In this horrid world where doom scrolling or doing something you're passionate about are both seen as cringe, I think it is deeply important to have something to be passionate about. Passion and inspiration are what drove every meme others grew up with and what inspires and will inspire our current meme culture, for good or for worse. ERM What the Sigma is a culmination of the memes of the past and how memes of the present influenced Brainrot to be the word of the year for 2024, and how memes will change, grow, and shift as we develop new ideas, concepts, and, well, pop culture. Thus, ERM What the Sigma shows what happens when you put all that brain rot and solidify it into a game. Is the game perfect? No. But is the game unabashedly cringe as hell? Yes. And while cringe culture and modern social media pundits might say this has no value, any game that reminds you to be authentically yourself with others in this scary world is deserving of all that praise and more. At least, I think so. And you know what I feel and smell in the air? Sigma and Skibbity with some Riz on your gyat. And when I'm done with my gyat, I guess I'll go edge my next video. What the fuck am I saying? God, this script is fucking stupid. Anyway, check out this video about the next crazy D&D drama situation, whatever the hell it's gonna be up on the screen. I don't know. And as always, I'm your average, everyday fool. Blurry disposition. You all have an awesome April. Ciao.